Okay, so today we want to talk about setting up audio files in the N3FJP logger, and that includes all of the contest modules, which this is specifically designed to enhance your operating performance. So it's a two-step process. Basically, first you need to generate the file, and there's many different ways you can do that, or I should say many different software modules you can use. Today I decided to use Audacity. It seems to be fairly popular. I personally use a audio program called AVS Audio Editor, but pretty much anything will do. The benefits of generating a file as opposed to those that are traditionally available on some of the modern transceivers is you have the opportunity to edit the audio to enhance certain features, remove noise, and so forth. So it gives you some distinct advantages. The other advantage too is that you use to initiate these audio files, you use the F keys on your computer keyboard. I find that very convenient. In addition, the F1 key is used to recycle a CQ routine at intervals that you're able to program. Anyway, that's kind of an overview of how this works. So the first thing is we want to bring up a audio generating file, and I'm going to bring up Audacity now. And let me link that. Stand by a minute.
Hey guys, is this being recorded?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I want to be sure. I could possibly have to jump off. I'm working. I was just going to watch because I want to see how you do this, Dave.
Okay, so
yes, it's recording.
This is a typical screen here when you open up Audacity. And like I said, there are a variety of different audio software programs that you can use. And so the first thing you need to do is you need to tell the program where your microphone is and which microphone you're using. Now, for this demonstration, I'm just going to use the microphone that comes with the with my video camera. And it's the mic aspect of it. You can see that up here. And then the output, it just goes to wherever your speakers are so that you can monitor it. So at this point, basically, you'll just record the file, and I'll do that right now just as a demonstration. CQ, 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 calling CQ. This is K4BBH calling CQ and listening. Now, not much gain there, is there? Not quite sure. Probably there's some recording settings here.
I wonder if it's because you're using that mic for Zoom.
That could very well be. So let's try. I've got my recording microphone here. Let's try that. Let's try a new file. Let's see, file, new. Okay, so let's go here and select. Oh, it's good. Was that where? Oh, here we go. Wait, now, see, I don't use this program very much, so. 2 stereo recording channel. Well, let's try it. CQ, 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 calling CQ. This is K4BBH calling CQ and listening. Okay, let's play it back. CQ, 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 calling CQ. This is K4BBH calling CQ and listening. Yeah, I don't know why that level dropped there, but of course with the software you can go through and you can amplify that section there.
Dave, did you change anything to between recordings that time? I didn't see you change anything.
No,
He used a different mic.
I'm using a different mic now instead of the mic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Just physically, you picked up that microphone to do that recording.
yeah, but why in the middle the level
Yeah,
went down?
it dropped, didn't it?
Yeah, I'm gonna try that again. It's not a big deal. This is kind of fluff. Let's just do a file new. Okay. CQ, CQ, CQ. This is K4BBH calling CQ and listening. Okay. Now that's pretty low, but the idea now is to get the volume up as close to 0 dB as you can without clipping or without overdriving it. So we'll just do that now. Let's see, effects, amplify. Let's see. CQ, CQ, CQ. This is K4BBH call. That sounds a little better. That's about right. Okay.
Yeah, that looks good.
Now you see these spikes in here. Now what I do, I take a lot of time. I go through and I'll zoom. I'll expand that particular area by quite a bit, and then I'll just block that particular part of the signal and attenuate it. Okay, so that we remove a lot of these spikes here. Okay, and then I don't want to spend a lot of time in this, but then you can go through and you can peak the highs. You can get rid of noise, especially in these areas here. You can attenuate the noise and so forth. So you can do a lot of enhancements. All right.
You can put a compressor on it, right?
You can compress it. There's all kinds of things. Now, I don't know. Well, if we look at effects, you can see a myriad of all. Can you all see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. See all the list of all the different things. Okay. So
do you ever use compressor?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. What I have found, Dan, is that it's better to have enhanced or amplified highs without distorting, because of course, you know, I'm a contester and DX, but when you have a few more highs, and this I've gotten through just listening and seeing who gets through and who doesn't. The stations that have a lot of punch and have more highs on their signal, they get through better.
Okay.
Simple as that. So that's what I attempt to do without it sounding harsh or distorted. So this takes some trial and error. So this is something I don't want to spend a lot of time in, but one that if you want to really tweak your signal, then you can go through that routine. The other thing is too, these ends here, the start and the finish, you want to leave that. You want to leave some space there, because when you hit your F key, there's a little bit of delay, and you want it to start actually start speaking, maybe a half a second after you hit the key. But if you don't leave a little bit of space in there, it'll start prematurely. I'm not quite sure why that happens, but there's a delay between the audio file playing and the time you go into transmit. So there's some kind of delay there, kind of like echo link, you know, kind of thing.
Right.
So you want to leave about maybe a half a second here and a half a second at the end. And you can tweak that. Well, here I can, let's see, edit, cut. Okay, so there you have it. And you can blow that up if you want to measure it precisely. So let's just do that here. Okay, I don't know how much time I'm taking off, but I'm just making an estimate. And delete. Okay, now let's save this file.
Hey, Dave, why don't you just go ahead and put a compressor on it? Just do that one effect.
Okay, let's see, effect, compressor.
You have to select it. Do you select it first?
I think I did, didn't I? Select all. Oh, maybe not. Okay. Wait, I'm not sure that's right. Oh, it was right. Okay, I'm sorry. Like I said, I haven't used this, so I don't select all. There you go. Effect, compression. And of course, you can change all the, I didn't realize this, you can change all of the parameters regarding compression, threshold and noise floor and so on. So let's go ahead and you can preview it. CQ, CQ, CQ. This is K4BBH calling CQ and listening. Okay, so let's implement it. And there you have it. Okay. See, there's some noise here though. And of course you can block that out. I don't know if you can do that same routine with this, but I know you can do it with the, Dan, are you still there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, I don't see your video. That's all right.
Yeah, I turned it off.
Okay, all right. So anyway, let's save the file because the most important thing is once you've generated the file and you know where it is, which is very important because you have to point to it later, then the most important thing is setting up the N3FJP part of that routine. So let's save this file. Let's see. No,
Export.
Export audio.
You did import.
Did I really?
If I can do that again, yeah.
Oh.
I'm speaking from experience. I've used
Oh,
Audacity and made every mistake you can possibly make with it.
You know, it's funny, Dan. When I tried this out, I did the exact same thing. So I must, yeah, whatever. Okay, export it. I like MP3. Any format is good. So I've got a RAM disk drive here. I'm just going to put it in RAM disk and call it temp audio. Okay, and that's in the RAM disk drive G. I just need to remember where that is. Edit mega tags. We don't need to do anything here. And okay. All right, I'm going to close this out. No. That was another file that didn't get closed out. Ignore that. I guess I can. Okay. Now, do I need to, I guess I need to stop sharing? Are you seeing my desktop?
Yes.
We do.
Oh, all right. All right, so let's bring up N3FJP, and I'm going to bring up the where is it here? There it is. Okay, are you seeing that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So we go to settings, transmit, phone. Whoops. Okay. Now this is the main screen. Now I've already got mine set up for the contest, but it doesn't matter. So the first thing you look at is your COM ports because it's going to control your transceiver. Tell it to
It's going to key your radio.
Right. And then the second thing that you have to do is point to whatever sound card is being used to bring the audio into your transceiver. So I use the signal length, so that's already selected. Okay. And so the next thing is basically go look for your file. Now you can see here that you've got F1 through F12. I mean, I never use that many. I'll use maybe 4 or 5. But the F1 key is specifically designed for a CQ, and then you can have that run and loop every 4 seconds. Now it stops whenever you hit any key on your keyboard. So if somebody answers you and it's within that 4-second period of delay, you start typing his call sign in the call area and it stops. It'll stop that cycling. Okay. So that's a nice little feature. So we browse. Okay. And we look for the file, which is in my RAM drive. And there's temp audio. Now I'm not gonna select it because I don't want to have to go through but you'd select that and that ends up in that register. Okay.
So how do you decide which audio file to put on which F key?
Well, that's a good question. Usually it's in the order of importance or the order of usage. So for example, my F2 key, well, and I've done, I don't know if you can see this or not, but let's see if you can, I don't know how well you can see this. But those are little templates that I made. And of course, F1 is over here, F2, F3, F4. There's a space on my keyboard and then F5 and so forth. And this is just a tag that tells me what it is for. So in this case, for this contest, it'll be CQ, CQ, CQ. And by the way, every contest is a little different. This contest, you'll rarely use the CQ button, but it's there in the event that the band gets pretty scarce or contacts are scarce, and then I want to call CQ. Other contests or events, you'll use that quite a bit. So the F2 key is the primary one, and that for this contest gives the signal strength, the zone, and that's it. So in fact, let's see if I can, let me go to another band here. I don't want to transmit. I usually go to like 10 meters way up there, and let's see.
So Dave, what do you have your other F keys set at?
Oh, okay. The other F key on mine is like I was saying today, a lot of DX stations don't hear me very well, regardless of what I do. So I have my third F key is my call sign. Okay, because that's what you're going to in this contest. You're going to be what do they call it? The two different modes. When you call CQ, you're the DX station.
Yeah,
we're not
right.
You're running versus search and pounce or whatever.
Search and pounce, right? So we're the search and pounce. So your call sign is the primary file or audio you're going to send. So in my case, I've got 3 different versions: F3, F4, and F5. F3 is K4 Kilo 4 Bravo Bravo Hotel. F4 is Kilo 4 Baker Baker Hotel, and F5 is Kilo 4 Brazil Brazil Honolulu. So many times these foreign stations don't quite get it. Either my accent, of course I don't think I have an accent, but they do, and so you want to be able to have that. Again, the main reason for doing this is to avoid fatigue and to keep your voice. I mean, oftentimes I'll make 300, 400, 500 contacts in a contest. Well, let me tell you, man, that gets tiring after a while. So this becomes a very, very useful tool in that.
So what does what is it, TSM tab and TSM enter? What do those things do?
You know, that's a good question. I was looking at that the other day and I said, I wonder if somebody's going to ask about that. And I frankly, I don't know.
Not in the help. If you in that description area, if you scroll down in description, I wonder if it
could be. Yeah, it could be.
Scroll that description area up on the top right in that box.
Oh,
scroll down right in there. I don't see it.
It's probably down further here. Ah,
Tab sends message, enter sends message. Or tab sends, yeah.
okay. So it's only the F2 and F3 key then.
Well, I guess if you're doing an exchange, you know, you do the call sign and then you get RST or whatever, and then whatever the exchange is. And they probably, as you're tabbing through the fields on N3FJP, it'll automatically send the audio, I bet.
So you
Oh,
looks like you key the call sign, and you key their call sign and tab out, and it automatically sends F2. So you don't have to press another key.
yeah.
Right.
Ah, I'll have to play with that today. I
pretty
didn't
cool.
realize that. I didn't pay any attention to that. But of course, I've spent 3 years now with my own routine. That will be that I could see one of the one of the other things too is in the heat of the event, you got to be sure you hit the right key.
Right.
I can't tell you how many times I've accidentally hit the CTU key when I'm supposed to give the guy 5/9 zone 8. But fortunately, the minute you hit the correct key, it stops and starts immediately. Okay,
Right.
so you don't look like a complete idiot. And by the way, what I like to do, if those of you that don't have an SSD drive, is I have plenty of memory. I've got 32 gigs of memory, and I've got a utility that sets up a RAM drive. So I put my audio files in RAM drive because it's much, much faster. And I've discovered before I did that on occasion, depending on how the computer's working, you'd get some delays or there'd be a chop in between the file and a little bit annoying. So this plays the file instantly without hesitation.
But you have to reload. If you were to reboot your computer, you have to put those files back in the RAM drive every time.
Actually, there's a utility that images your RAM drive, and when you reboot it, throws it back in.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a nice feature. But if you've got SSD drives, it's kind of superfluous, you know. I use it for because I figure if something hiccups and that RAM drive gets screwed up, oh well, it's stuff that I don't really care about because all my audio files are stored on my data drive. So
yeah, for this specifically though, it seems like it would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Just to create the RAM drive.
Yeah.
What I'd be interested in the utility you're using to create the RAM drive.
Oh.
And keep it in sync with, keep it loaded, keep it set up right.
Yeah. It's a little pricey, but I bought it anyway because I just wanted it. Hang on a minute. Let me. Let's see. I guess I can.
And don't let me take you off topic if you've got more to do.
No. It's okay. We're not that structured here. Oh, where is it? Are you looking at? There it is. You're not seeing that yet, are you?
No, we're not.
You have to reshare.
Why isn't it showing me that? All right, let's try it again. Let's see. Data RAM, let's see. I'll get it. Oh, it's kind of locking up here a minute. Says it's not responding. Well, that's odd. I don't want to stop RAM disk. Here, let me close program. Let's try it again. Are you seeing that? You guys are muted.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay. Help about. So if you may
Take a
want
look
to,
at
so it's www.dataram.com.
Yep.
Okay.
So
Thanks for that. I may take a look at that. That's a good idea.
yeah, it's a nice program, and you can now you can get a freebie. Oh, I forgot. You can get it for free, but you're only allowed to chunk off, I think, 4 megabytes of RAM, or you're limited to some of the features. But you can get a free version that will give you a RAM drive, but just the size of the partition is limited.
Well, I guess if your audio files for a particular contest are less than that, you could just use the free version.
Oh yeah, exactly. If that's your intention.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay.
That's $22 for the
Oh, is that what it was?
64 gigabytes.
Okay.
Gigabyte. So it's not that expensive
No, not at all.
for a ham radio hobby.
Yeah.
I was expecting like
That's true.
$500.
Yeah.
No, that's not bad. Okay, I'll take a look at that.
All right. I think, is there any other questions? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. The key that I found though is pointing to all the right, you know, your audio, your signal link, pointing to the file, making sure your COM port set, all the typical things during setup are an issue. So, but you know, in summary, basically, you build the audio file, you do whatever enhancements you think are appropriate. You save the file, remember where it is, bring up N3FJP, and go through the setup, transmit. What was it? Audio? No, transmit voice, I think, and then just point to all the parameters there.
So Dave, for a bonus feature here, do you use that N3FJP for the CW side as well?
No, I don't, because my CW skills are not that great, contrary to popular belief. All right.
Better than mine.
Well, I can maybe solid copy 12 to 15 words a minute tops. Okay. So CW for me is basically in DX, because all I got to do is be able to hear my call, sign with 599, you know, and and that's pretty much it. I will do, as you remember, Troy, in our first field day, I didn't do that well with CW, because, you know, you have to copy different aspects of the exchange. And so I didn't do that well. And
I thought you did great.
Well, okay. Well, maybe so.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a pretty good process, and you do pretty good with this stuff. You can tell by looking at the scores.
You know
when we're
what they
doing
say.
a contest.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but not in, well, okay, yeah.
Well, you know what they say,
okay, maybe
Dave,
not so bad.
in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
That's a good point, Troy. And
I heard that one.
Thanks for the accolades. But anyway, I have not done that, and it's just something I haven't explored. Okay. In fact, if anyone would like to do that and share their experience with that, I would be more than happy to explore that as well. So anybody wants to take that on, I would like that.
Quick thing, I'm looking at the RAM disk thing. There is actually, I scrolled down a little bit. The $22 is for 64 gigabits. There is also a version that is RAM disk Lite up to 12 gigabytes, not bits, but there's one that's 12 gigabytes for $13.
Yeah.
So it's not that bad.
No.
If you think that's helpful, I'll
What do
probably
you-
do that.
Does it say what you get for the free version?
1 gig.
Yeah, but
Free for
now,
personal use and 1 gig.
yeah,
One
for
gig
audio,
is
yeah, for audio files.
For
that's
audio
more
files,
than-
that's not, yeah, really.
plenty.
more, you know, and
So maybe
so
start with that and expand if needed.
if
That's-
needed, yeah.
that's a good idea,
But-
yeah.
But most people, see, here's the thing that what I've discovered. I would say the vast majority of people in this hobby and probably within our club use laptops.
Hmm.
Based on that, most new laptops today come with SSD drives. So a RAM disk is superfluous, pretty much.
Right.
Okay. For those of
Well, there are those of us who use older laptops, though. I mean, we're not all going out and buying new laptops. So
Okay,
good point. If you use an SSD drive, there's not as much
because
need for that.
it's virtually the same benefit.
Right.
But yeah, if you've got an older laptop or a desktop, then the RAM drive is a really good thing to do.
Dave, can you go look at that file that you made just a minute ago and see how big it is? I'd be interested in knowing how big that CQ
Yeah.
file you did,
Good point.
because you could probably get by with like a couple 100 megabytes of a RAM disk,
Right.
to hold just audio files, and that'd be fine.
This is formatted. Doggone it.
It says RAM disk is offered as freeware for personal use and will allow you to create disk up to 1 gigabyte in size. Some features not enabled and require the purchase of a license key to be enabled.
Now, one of those, that's a good point, Dan. One of those is probably the feature that allows you to image the RAM drive and reload it when you reboot.
Yeah.
My guess is that's probably not available. And that is something you definitely want.
So the $13 version of it
I
has
would.
all of the features.
Yeah, I mean, I would. I mean, you know, $13. I mean, you'll have it forever, and it's not like it's gonna. It's not like it's not gonna work with a different operating system.
And you've paid them something. I mean, you've given them something for their effort.
Yeah, you know, 117 kilobytes.
Yeah.
So 100 megabyte file, you know, if I've got 8 gigs of RAM, I don't want to give up too much of it to a RAM disk, but 100 megabyte RAM disk would be plenty to hold audio files for a contest.
Yeah, that's true. As long as you don't have to reboot.
I mean, you may consider doing the $13 paid version to get all the features and still create 100 megabit.
Oh yeah.
Why do I keep saying that? 100 megabyte. RAM disk.
You're
a networking guy.
Yeah.
That's right. It's bits.
You can decide how large you can make that decision how large you want your RAM disk to be.
Right.
So, you know, in the old days, in the old Windows 3.1 and so forth, I remember there was a different RAM disk that you were able to use. Of course, that was in DOS. You could configure using or extended memory, or I forget now. But I used to throw the overlay files into RAM, try to do everything possible to make things operate quicker.
Right.
And so that's when RAM disk, and I think you can do that now, but it doesn't really aid you very much.
Right.
So.
I had maybe a question, maybe a comment about the way you were using Audacity. I don't know if it would help anyone. I don't think I saw you save what you were doing as an Audacity project.
I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that intentional? You just use it,
well,
save the MP3 and throw it away?
Yeah, because I'm not but you can I guess, see, I used Audacity maybe 20 minutes, maybe 12 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've used it, and it can be
so I have
good, it can be bad.
little or no experience at all.
But let me just tell you, if I can, the way I've done this, and
please.
it's been forever since I've done what you just described here, and it'll help me to see your method of doing it. But I'll start Audacity and I'll create a track and record one of these. Then instead of saving that one off and creating the MP3, I'll create a new track, mute the first one, and record my second audio file. So you could go through the whole contest and have all of those tracks in the same Audacity file. You mute all except one when you're working on them. Then you can go back and export the first one. Then you export the second one. You export all of your individual files.
So
you save that whole thing as an Audacity project.
As a project, right?
Right.
Okay.
So if you need to go back and do something to it, you can reopen that file, and you've got all of your core.
Well, you reopen the project with four files.
Right. Yeah. And
gotcha.
in that, if you were to go back and edit the MP3, if you decide that I've taken syllables out of words with Audacity, if you expand it enough, you can go in and take just minute detail out.
Yes.
But if you import that MP3, edit it, and export it again, you're recompressing it, and you're probably degrading the audio just a little bit.
Lose something
every time you
process.
do that. Yeah,
that's a very good point. So in the project format, it stays intact. You're not saving
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, gotcha.
You don't want to save that to that RAM disk. Obviously, you just put the MP3 on the RAM disk. But
yes, that's a good. I never thought about that. Yeah. Even though it's digital, it's not 100%.
Right. Right.
99.8% or something.
Right. My other thing, if that little template that you had, I will always forget what is on each key.
Got to make the template.
Is that like a word? How did you do that? Is it just paper that you cut out and put on the keyboard? Is it a label?
It's a secret.
Thanks for your help. This has been very helpful.
Now for $9.95, I share that part of it. No, actually, I painstakingly measured the distance and the width and everything, and I just I did a word folder, and each one of those blocks is a not a window. What do you call it? A text block.
Cell. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Text
Okay.
block. And then I just move them around and manipulate them and so forth. And then of course, if you've done anything with the blocks, you can combine them into one big block, and that's what I'll do eventually. And then I'll copy that block down and re-expand it, and then edit for a different deal. And then I print it out, and then I just cut it, and I put tape on both sides, so it makes it like I go out there, I'm out there.
Yeah, that's good. Good.
But it's fun, you're right. But even with it clearly written here, there are times when I hit the wrong key because I'm just wailing here, and then I get fatigued, at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, I get fatigued.
Right. Well, that, maybe if you explore the tab thing that we were talking about in the inner, that may clear that up. If you get it set up so you key the call sign, you tab, and it transmits the next audio file.
Yeah, I think I'm going to play around with that before the contest and see if I can get the hang of that, because that, especially with this contest, there's only 2 different. Now, did we agree that only works for the F2 and F3 key?
I think so. Bring it back up. I don't have. using the wrong computer here. And I don't
No,
have
let
that.
let me bring that up a minute again, wherever I am. Whoop, there we are. And then I'll share it. Let's see.
So you press Control-Shift-G on the main screen, on the contest screen, log screen, to enable this. And then when you tab out of Callsign,
Then it automatically
sends F2.
executes F2.
Right.
And then when you hit enter,
it sends F3.
the F3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So here's the scenario. So if you're calling CQ, if you're parked, that's perfect if you're parked, because then you can give the response, you hit enter, and it says QSL, thanks for the call, QRZ.
Right.
So that would be appropriate for like Georgia QSO party.
Right.
When those of us in Georgia will park.
Right.
And calling CQ, and maybe special events, which, by the way, we need, as soon as we get back together, we all need to generate some special event similar to Field Day, where we can all get together and do something.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Like I don't think, Troy, I don't think you were with us when we did the Flight 242
No.
event, and we did
No.
the Silver Comet. Those were great events, man. Dan, you participated in that, right?
I'm not sure that I did actively. No.
Oh, we had a lot of fun, and I have to admit and take credit, because both events we started here at my house, and it was a lot of fun because I've got multiple antennas. We're at the end of a cul-de-sac. Nobody bothers us, and we had lots of food and fellowship, and it was a great time. It was really a great time, and we did very well. Now there's a case where using the F keys are a real advantage. For example,
Right.
On Flight 242, we would make calls and we'd say special event, blah blah blah. And people would come back and say, well, what's the special event? And maybe about every fourth or fifth time, I'd say, well, please stand by and listen to this little 15-second audio file. Boom, F3. And it would come out and explain in brief what the event was all about. People loved that.
Yeah.
They loved it. So
and you're saying at one time you're consistent with what you're saying,
and it's concise and it's well constructed. Right. And so
that's good.
And see, what I wanted to do, of course, this is my obsessive thing, is if we ever have an event again like that and we have people operate my station, is that everybody has a set of their own audio files on a zip drive, and you just plug that in,
right?
And then your files are all custom to you,
right?
Including the description of the event. So to me, that's just, anyway, I enjoy that stuff. So
yeah, I'd like to participate. If we could do something like that. Go back to the TSM tab thing one more time. I'm thinking through those. If you do, so you're calling CQ. So F1 is CQ.
Right.
You've hit that. It's just playing it in a loop. Someone responds.
Someone responds. So you're in the record. Are you seeing me now?
Yep, I do.
Okay. So, you're in the call.
You got to be in Callsign. So you type their call sign.
yada, yada, yada. And then
you're going to
tab
say,
over.
but I don't think you tab over just yet, do you? Don't you? First, you respond with their call sign.
Let's see, to enable. No, okay, hang on.
I'm thinking about the audio sequence. You're going to be calling CQ.
Oh,
And
yes.
I'm gonna be throwing out my call sign, and then you're
Okay.
gonna say W4DTO.
Yeah, I'll say W4DTO tab.
But that's gonna start playing your second audio, and it's not gonna wait for me.
No, that's okay though. That's okay because he'll hear you. The other guy will hear that you responded to him, and then you can immediately tab over and finish that part of the exchange.
So you're gonna respond. I'm answering your CQ. You're gonna say W4DTO,
And then
hit tab, and it's gonna say 59 whatever.
Whatever, right? And then stop, and then he'll respond back, and then you'll hit enter.
Right.
And that goes, thanks for the call, QRZ.
Right.
That's
pretty good
cool.
Sequence. Pretty good sequence.
Now that we've talked that through, that's very, very cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, if you were running search and pounce, you had your call sign and just your call sign and
in F1 repeating every 4 seconds.
Well, I think you can turn that off. You can turn off the looping.
Well, they never hear me, so I'll just do it.
Well, you just don't put anything in F1.
Yeah.
You don't put any file there.
That's right.
So, yeah. Yeah, thanks, Dan, for inquiring about that, because I learned something there. And I may do that.
We'll see how we need a graph of your scores before this discovery and after this discovery, and see what the improvement is.
No, I'll tell you what. What's interesting is the guy that intrigues me in this area more than anything is Tommy. Because he does exceptionally well, and he's not using audio files. And oftentimes he beats me, and I think, and especially with DX, I think it's his location. I would be very interested to find out what is it that's unique about his QTH or his station, because he does remarkably well.
So what if you got a young lady with a very sexy voice to record your audios? And then I think your score would go up dramatically.
There's good. All right. Now that's interesting. There's good news, bad news there. The good news is that a female voice, you're right, is far more attention getting. The bad news is typically their readability is terrible in terms of interpreting what they're saying. So there's good news, bad news there. Now, maybe for an event, see, now, all right, you hit on something. This is kind of cool. If we were going to do an event description, then yes, I would agree with you. That would be a real attention getter. And since it's more verbose, then the clarity of getting the call sign right or whatever is. Oh, that's my wife's on the phone. I thought she was making an extraneous comment. Oh, because she's right back of me here. She hears everything. But anyway, that's an interesting point. And along that line, one of the things, in fact, if you don't mind just kind of getting off here a little bit, one of the things, and I think Dan, I've mentioned this, and Troy, you may have heard it, is I would love to do a special event honoring, now her name escapes me. Mary, what's the gal's name that did frequency hopping?
Oh, Hedy Lamarr.
Hedy Lamarr. Hedy Lamarr. I think that would be a marvelous
That'd be cool.
event to do. And it's not historically significant to our area, but it's my guess is there are probably several people that have no clue of her contribution to radio and so forth. And I think it'd be a great event.